My power supply is for a green Pippin. You're going to get a power cable that goes from the power supply to the motherboard. That's going to power the motherboard. And then you also get this connector, which you will see, which helps start up the unit, and it also goes to your USB light board that's going to power your blue and green light when you flip the unit on and when it's running. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, we have one more open port here. We're going to put our connector. Also, I'm going to just show you really quickly. You may get a connector that looks like this with black and red wires, or you may get one that looks like this with yellow and black wires. They're both the same. I'm going to connect it to that last 12 volt DC out. And then what I'm also going to do is just kind of look at these wires here. I'm going to try to straighten them out and get them flat, because when I put that motherboard in, it's kind of a tight fit. There's not a lot of room between the chassis here and where the motherboard's going to go. So I'm going to try to get those wires flat and straight across so that I have enough room to get my motherboard in without squishing these wires. So I'm going to try to line them up like that. That looks good. I'm going to pop out my old faceplate. This does not match up with the new motherboard, so you just pop that out. So we're going to get our new faceplate out of the kit. Okay, it looks like this. I'm going to bend these tabs up and in. So you got the letters and the numbers on one side. That's what's going to be facing out. You want to bend those two tabs in so that we can expose those USB ports. This is just a press fit. You just want to pop it in. Check all corners. Make sure you got it pushed in all the way, which I do. At this point now, okay, I'm going to take my motherboard. Again, I'm going to try to straighten out my wires here so I'm not totally squishing these wires. I'm going to slide that in. It's kind of a tight fit. Bend that down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold, and as you can see, kind of pressing in, and I'm pressing to the left here, and now my 4 screw holes are aligned. Okay, and I'm going to hold that while I put my new screws in. I'm not going to go all the way down until I get the 4 screws in. But once you get one in, you can take your other hand away and now get one in that back corner. Now, for these two right here, we have these black spacers. Okay, we want to slip a black spacer up underneath there like that. And now I'm just going to take a little screwdriver and push that over so that I expose it's perfectly lined up and I can get my screw in there. I'm going to hold this up. This bends, okay, so I'm going to hold this up with my finger as I screw down. It's only sheet metal, so it's very flexible. That just helps me so I can get a grab on the threads and then tighten this down. Okay, so the opposite corner here, I've got my black spacer. I slip that underneath. There, my threads are exposed, and I'm going to take a cable tie here. Take another screw, put that through my cable tie, and tighten this down. Okay, now I'm going to go to all 4 corners and tighten my motherboard down. motherboard is in. Now we have some slightly different connections on this style motherboard, okay? So this is what we were left with when we took out the old motherboard, okay? And we're going to give you this cable here is going to replace this mess here, but we still need to hold on to this black cord. Obviously this is how you power on the unit. So we're going to take out these two wires here, and the way we do that is I've got tweezers here, okay, and conveniently I got one of the ends bent just a little bit so that I can go in here now, push down on these tabs and kind of go up, and now these wires will push right out, okay? And we're not going to deal with these. We're sending you new cables, so we can put this aside. But we have to modify. You're going to have to modify this connector here. So if you, as you see, you got two wires in here. One's right in the middle, and one's over here. Okay. We want to leave that one in the middle. We've got to take this one out and put it in the middle on the other side. So again, I'm going to take my tweezers here, push down on that. There's just a little spring tab. Pull that out. So what if you can see, what I'm pressing down on is that little spring there, okay? And when I did that, it pressed down, so I'm just going to take my nail and just pull that spring up a little bit, okay? So now I'm going to turn this over, go in the middle hole again. There's 5 holes. You want to go right in the middle, okay, right across from the other one, and push that in until you hear it click. Yeah, it's very subtle. There's a little click, but you're going to see that spring. You should be able to see that spring right through the hole here, and then give it a good tug back and forth and make sure that it's not going to come out, and then you've got a solid connection, okay? So our connection is good here. I'm going to put a cable tie through my holder, like so, okay? I'm going to take my emitter cable, put it in, my detector cable, and put it in. And what we do here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a drop of glue on these, because as I was saying at the beginning, if you get a unit and you turn it on and your blue lights or your green lights aren't on, your emitter cable came loose. So to make sure that doesn't happen, what I like to do is just put a drop of glue on there to hold it down on that end. And then I'm not going to worry about these things coming out. As you know, these things bounced around quite a bit in shipping, especially if they're going to another country, and all that banging and jolting of the unit can push some of these connectors up. So what we do is we try to ensure that's not going to happen. So I put a drop of glue in there to hold those in place. I'm going to drop this unit back down. Now we're going to start connecting everything back up. Okay. So we're going to take the USB cable that we took off earlier. Okay. As you notice, there's 2 holes, there's 2 openings on this, okay? This cable can be different colors, okay? So, but you're going to have a cable on one end, and then you got your other one with red insulation on the other, okay? The way you put it in, doesn't matter what colors you have here. The 2-hole opening, you want to put it in the connector, which is right here, okay? You want to put it with the 2 holes facing you. Okay, so that is the proper align. You got to make sure that you put this in the correct way, and you want your 2 holes facing you. Okay, So now what I'm going to do is, this cable here goes to my USB connector. So what I do is, I put it behind the power cord, okay? So I'm going to put it like that, and you'll hear it snap in like that, and now you've got a good connection, okay? I've also got it here, so then when I put my cable tie together, I'm going to grab onto that, okay? At this point now, you can take your power cord and plug it right in, like so. Okay, I'm going to press that down a little bit. I got a little extra length on there. I'm going to press it down. And I'm going to run this cord down to the end of the unit. Okay. Now, take my black cord. It's called the momentary switch. This is what you push to switch on the unit. I'm going to take that. I'm going to go underneath the USB like that, and I'm going to put it on right here like that. It doesn't matter which way you put it. It doesn't matter if it's this way or that way. However the cord naturally bends, that's how I put it on. There is no front and back. It doesn't matter. You've got the two black wires right in the middle, opposite of each other, so it doesn't matter which way you put that on. You just want to put it on right there, and as you notice, you still got two open tabs right there. Okay, that's what you want. You want those two open tabs right there. Okay, again, I have it in position where I can grab it with my cable tie. Now, you go to this accord, which you get in your kit. Okay, this end here goes in this one here. Okay, like that. Snap it in. Now what you're going to do is you're going to run this one underneath all the cables. You're going to bring it up. I like to go behind the black cable here. Now on this, you're going to see there's an arrow on one end. Okay, this connector, there is a front and a back, and you have to put it on the correct way. You want the arrow to be facing away from you, facing the back of the unit. Okay, so the way it goes on with the arrow in the back, I'm going to put that right on there like so. Okay, at this point now, I'm going to wrap all this up. Put my cable tie. So I've got my USB, I've got the black momentary switch, I've got this cord and the USB cord all together, and then I'm going to wrap it up. Nothing's pulling. I got a nice arc on everything, so there's no strain on anything. Don't have to get it too tight, tight, but you don't have to go crazy. And now I'm just going to snip that off, like so. Now I'm going to straighten out this cord. These cords here, I'm going to organize these, okay? So I've got this cord here. I'm going to take my USB, my emitter cord, and my photodetector cord. Just like that. Hold it just like that. I'm going to take one of my cable ties, and I don't know, about 2 inches down. I'm going to put one on like that, and then I'm going to put another one on right underneath that one. Hold that, and just tighten these cables. And I'm just bending them a little bit to the left because the way the hole is on the mid plate, you want to be slightly over to the left. So I'm just trying to push that like that so that it lines up with the hole in the mid plate. Like so. Again, to make sure things don't pop out in shipment, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a drop of glue, just a drop of glue on that connector, just like that. Just a little drop, just to make sure that doesn't pop out. Hold that for a second. And then also the same thing right here on my two connectors here. I'm just going to put a drop of glue, just a small one, on both of those connectors. Make sure they're down and let that dry for a second.